Hello everybody, welcome back to Let's Play Hearts of Iron 4 Kaiserreich as Canada. Let us continue on from where we last left off. So, we're getting some crown corporations going, giving us just more factories. They're pretty cheap and pretty fast as well. We're going to go for a royal visit of the French Republic, our most trusted of allies, because they are going to be very important for the war against the British, and I guess also the Commune of France as well. I did send over a handful of ships, 14 ships. Like, they have right now 84, not bad themselves. So they're already going to prepare for liberation. What do you need? Like, return to the continent, you can only do in June of 1939, or I believe if Germany and France are at war. So we still have a few years to prepare. I mean, technically, France and Germany can go to war a little bit early, but you'll see how that goes. Unsurprisingly, Britain doesn't really like us very much. CCF appeals to the unemployed. The recently formed Cooperative Commonwealth Federation Party, led by J.S. Woodward, been making large gains in the polls as Woodward speaks to groups of unemployed laborers and factory workers across the country. The party's democratic socialist platform has resulted in accusations of it being funded and run by syndicalist sympathizers, but its message of alleviating the suffering of farmers and workers under capitalism has hit a chord even so. Regardless, its popularity seems to be concentrated in the Western Canada, and the idea is that it might have a chance of forming a new government is remote. So syndicalism and social democracy gets a little bit more popular. And we can now go for an extra research slot, which is nice. So, 36. Concentrated industry. 201 days on you. Like, we're already doing, like, pretty well, I would say, in terms of where our technology is at. We're gonna get an extra research slot, because you can never go wrong with an extra research slot, I believe. Just like aircraft not doing anything. I mean, I guess I could send them to India. Because they do seem like they're having some difficulties there. So my aircraft. Those here support air superiority. Let's at least support. This is our contribution to the Afghanistan war. Sending them some planes. I don't know how long it's going to take for them to get there. But they'll be there eventually, I'm sure. They'll be there on the 16th of May, so still about a week. Oh, never mind, the war's over. Well. Well, then that has been resolved, hasn't it? So, I guess my planes... Yeah, I don't want my planes hanging out here anymore. You can just come back home. I know you spent all your time flying here. But if you could just turn around... Yeah, don't... Just stay here. Just go back to Toronto. I'm sure everything will be fine. Like, we're not really producing anything. Our manpower is kind of low, but that's fine. So we have mostly these guys here. We're basically just terrible. Okay, so you have tanks in you. All of my infantry, by the way, go up to Infantry Division 2 template. Because the first one, I think, is just kind of garbage. Roll that into the trash bin. And you should be at. Yeah, this is fine. The commission has officially returned today, and their news is not especially pleasant. We received reports that what they refer to as slavery in a different form in the plantation economy is still being the main form of development within the islands. Among this are many other problems, like the United Fruit Company promotion of prostitution in Jamaica, class divides in Guyana between Indo and Afro Guineas, oil spillings in Trinidad and Tobago. Walter Guinness himself said that there is a generation is suffering from a century of neglect from the empire, and they expect the West Indies government to handle the problem immediately. Needless to say, many Canadians are disgusted by what's happening in the West Indies. Those who, Those who they see are very similar to them in ways have left a stain on the Imperial family and the current government. A little bit of political power loss. You know, it's not that bad. It could be worse. Probably. Yeah, so like we still have enough infantry equipment to manage all of this. That's some garrison troops, the armor division, motorized brigade. Okay, so I mean everything, we're good. I mean I would like to change probably some of these modifiers a little bit in the future. In fact, I could just change them like right now. Nothing really stopping me. So you are mostly motorized, a little bit of in like a light tank. I kind of feel like just taking a light tank out of this army. Combat with piercing's gone down. Breakthrough goes down a lot, but it is a little bit faster, which is kind of what I was more or less looking for. So I was hoping to make it like a 10 combat with. We'll save this. And we can also edit the tank division here. No, you know, the tank division's fine. Pull you in Ottawa. Train up one of these infantry divisions to have a tank in them. Train up 2 of you guys. Put you in Ottawa as well. There we go. That works out a-okay. And we do need a lot of rifles. How long is it going to take for us to actually get all this stuff? About a year for you. We're looking at about 2,300 days. Fantastic. And 3,243 days for the light tank. So we're looking pretty good right now. Luckily, again, we don't have enough materials to actually maintain all this stuff. As expected, the most contentious issue in the election is proving to be that of conscription. Both the Liberals and Conservatives have proposed a bill that known as Bill C7, which would shape our operations for war over the coming years. Whether Bill C7 includes conscription, however, is the key element. French Canadians and Quebec are in particularly vehemently opposed to the idea of general conscription forcing them to fight in a British war. Thus, Liberal promises have not been implemented. Seen as a great gain to the province. Conservatives, meanwhile, said that Canada doesn't have the manpower to fight in any war without conscription. The war, when it comes, conscription sooner or later. And they say, for all our sakes, it should be sooner. Well, unsurprisingly, things are not going well. It's a very divided nation right now. Political power cost. Yeah, that's very bad. When is my extra factory done? 29 days? I'd like it to be done a little bit faster than that, but okay. We still need to also remove the penalties. You know what? Excavation 1? I think that's something that we want right now, rather than later. Okay, so we're going to get another research slot in 4 days. Ability goes up by 5. War support goes up a little bit. You modify Great Depression a little bit as well. Oil, chromium. A lot of resources in here. We need all of them. No, just requires CP rail expansion. Okay. Oh, but they're all needed for economic recovery. I see. I mean, you actually just give us radio for free. Okay, so that's good to know. We don't want to research radio because this doesn't actually help. It'll be good here. You know, the Senate. Like, there's so many, like, things that I want to kind of do at once. And getting the natural resources seem pretty good. But we need all of these eventually. So, let's go for the Imperial Conference first. I don't know what it does, but it might prove to be important. Got an extra research slot, so let's use you. Let's I mean, we're gonna get 2 times 100% bonus, so we should get 2 of these pretty cheap. Let's get them better light tank. You know, while we still have time until World War II actually begins. Gilbert K. Chesterton dies. British Rifles writer Gilbert K. Yeah, he's dead. Whatever. Prince of Paradox died. Who cares? Doesn't really matter. So we still got a few months until the election. July, August, September, October. Like 5 months till the election. Until we can actually see whether or not we're actually going to be able to invade the United States. Like, I kind of still want to. And then force whoever wins the United States to join our faction. That'd be nice. Campaign stop by Mackenzie King in Toronto was marred today when it was met by a large demonstration organized by the Orange Order of Canada. The order, which celebrates Canada's tie with the British Empire, has been campaigning strenuously for greater action against the United Britain, has declared the Liberal no conscription position as an outrage that threatens the very survival of the Empire. Raucous chanting and shouting prevented King from continuing his speech. Altercation between the Liberal supporters and the Orange Order almost ended up in a riot before the police were finally called in to intervene. Should have been there. I mean, I kind of want to support the Conservatives, so we'll put them there. We want to support the British exiles. We want to be as militarized as humanly possible. And speaking of which of you is actually better? You need to be social conservatives to get these guys in charge. Yeah, so we want at least the social conservatives in charge. Go back in flames. War support. Political power. We can suspend parliament. Become a military government. The British exiles have that very high influence for this to actually go through. Your stability. Basically giving Quebec special status. I feel like that only harms us. And who cares what the Quebec by Qua thinks? So we can just we can have a military government. That seems fine. America demands war debts. It came to a surprise to the Canadian government, but the ambassador for the United States has demanded the Canadian government immediately begin repaying their war debts incurred by the British Empire during the Wild Creek. While the Americans are gripped in an economic crisis, one Canada has to an extent avoided. They must know the Canadians can never repay the debt, not at all at once at least. Though the old United Kingdom was on its way to repayment, there was a tacit agreement after the British Revolution. The debts wouldn't continue to be repaid until the home islands were recaptured. While the Americans demanded now, they must either be desperate or must be catering to the warlike and isolation elements in their government. So, but no matter what we refuse, I can't just agree to pay them and then tank our economy. What is America going to do? I'm not too sure. I believe they can, like, theoretically attack us. Oh no, they're gonna embargo us. Fantastic. I'm sure it's fine. Poland's fallen to nationalism. I'm sure that's okay. Yeah, so you got a national populist. That's fine. We'll see. Maybe Germany. I think can Germany invade them? I'm not too sure. March against conscription. A giant march against Bill C-7 in the prospect of national conscription has taken place in both Montreal and Quebec City, with smaller marches taking place in Ottawa and Vancouver. Opposition to conscription is beginning to hit its head, with many of the signs on the marches declaring exiles get out and no war for Canada in either English or French. Member of the Conservative Party has openly suggested that the marches are being organized by the Union of Britain in order to stabilize the Entente, but Mackenzie King and the Liberals have treated them seriously and doubled down on the party's opposition to widespread conscription. Disability is at 35%. I mean, it seems bad, but in our Poland campaign right now, I think that's still higher. So overall, it could be significantly worse. Imperial Conference is going to be done in 12 more days. Bill C-7. We got an extra research speed bonus. Excellent. So right now we got a +8. Not too bad. It's still sort of halfway through 1936. We're going to get radio for free by going with the CBC. At least get superior firepower. Actually, before... I should check the focus tree to make sure that's actually what we want. Okay, we actually have somebody here who does superior firepower. Excellent. I don't want to pick a I don't want to pick a doctrine and have the focus tree not benefit the doctrine in any way, shape, or form. I just look like a complete fool if we did that. The Concentrate Industry 1 has finished. I don't know if I want to start reaching the 37 stuff quite yet. But I mean, I'm looking at this stuff. I'm not really seeing anything else I want to research right now. So let's go for it. Concentrate Industry 2. It's only 37 tech, only half a year ahead of time. Could be significantly worse. And with 5 research slots, you got a lot of opportunity to kind of go further onto the tech tree than normal. With the 8th Imperial Conference ready to begin, the Prime Minister should consider what to focus on. Should we advocate for the Dominion of Canada that's best suited to retaking the home islands as soon as possible, or should we intend to focus on improving the various dominions of the Empire? I don't trust the... You think I trust the AI to do anything? Of course I don't. I don't even trust me to do it, but we're going to... Canada's definitely the key to doing this stuff. After that, let us... Fate of the Senate. Bologna has joined the Reichspakt. That is A-okay. Yeah, they split in half. That's cool. Today, the Imperial Conference begins with leaders representing the remnants of the British Empire gathering in Canada. After the opening ceremony headed by King Edward VIII, the Prime Minister of Canada is the first to speak, giving a rousing speech where he has stressed that while the ultimate goal of retaking the home islands, that cannot happen without building up the different dominions within the Empire. For now, helping them is Canada's first and foremost goal. I literally just said it's not, but sure. Okay, so for popular, then people get more war support. Okay. The Australasian delegate speaks. The next speaks as a delegate from the Australasian Confederation, gives a speech about how the Australasian military is in a dire need of proper training and upgrading and its firearms. Without such, he fears that the Australasian Confederation is ill-equipped to assist in a distant war against the Syndicalists, and requests that his fellow Dominions and advisors send what they can help. Okay. Some cheap stuff for them. Now the British Indian delegate speaks. The next to speak is a delegate from the Dominion of India who gives a speech about the dire investment. Is everybody having a tough time? The British exiles have channeled so much of their funds in helping Canada through the Great Depression that he feels that perhaps some of it should be spared to assist the British Indian economy. Okay. Some little bonuses for everybody. What do you want? Sure. Everybody can have it. I'm sure there's no bad things that are going to happen from this. Or at least I hope not. I'm not too sure. The end of the conference. God save the king. Good old Edward VIII. Who we're going to be using to probably declare martial law at some point. We'll see. Suggestions from Walter Guinness and the Commission. I mean, I'd rather lose a little bit more political power. We're already, like, earning none. Who cares? Losing half of it again? It's fine. It's fine, I'm sure. It would be nice to go up to partial mobilization. Just try to get our industry going as fast as possible. Because the civilian economy is just bad. Like, there's no benefits. At least for, let's say, I guess there's no benefits for disarmed either. Only free trade really has benefits depending on which way you're going. Decisions available. What do you want? I don't know if we want to do a royal address quite yet. We want to at least wait until we're more popular. The Viet Cong have risen up against Germany East Asia. That is fine. I don't have any spies yet. Maybe I do want to kind of... I mean, do I even want to get an intelligence agency? I really don't feel like the spies and don't really do much. I guess we can get some more, a little bit more information, which is still good for these guys. Bennett has assaulted you. You assaulted somebody. He's willing to fight. That's a good thing. Exactly. He cares. He's got, like passion, I guess you could say, convictions. If you're not willing to punch a reporter in the face for what you believe in, then do you actually believe in it? That's a good question. So, got some interwar artillery. Anti-tank. You know, I always ignore this shit. Let's look. Police speed when retreating. Yeah, let's be cowards. Duplessis wins the Quebec election. Coming off the campaign based on the Quebec dissatisfaction with the economy, the threat of national conscription, Maurice Press and the Union Nationale have won a majority government in the Quebec provincial elections. Duplessis is sworn to fight any plan to enact conscription, and there are even threats calling for referendum on the future of Quebec and the Confederation should that happen. It's a clear sign of just how serious the division between the English Canadians and the French Canadians have become. Now that the split its opinion, Canada's role is coming to war is so sharp. Okay, so everybody in Quebec is a little bit mad. Not that it's really anything new, per se. So you're going to be a little bit less influential once you're done. But that's okay. It's still going to put you down to moderate, which is, I think, still just fine. We're still a few months away from seeing who is going to become the next president of the United States. The main competition for the Liberals among those opposed to conscription appears to be coming from the Nationalist Party of Canada, led by Henry Herbert. The Nationalist Party's platform began as Republican and anti-monarchist, but has evolved into a stance that would see Canada pulled out from the Entente entirely. Stevens expected to win in his British Columbia riding, but so far has been unable to gain traction in Quebec, where the party could do more than eat at the Liberal domination there. Okay, so the National Populists get a little bit more popular, but I don't think there's any way they can actually win the election. But I'm not too sure. Again, at least I've never seen it. Get some status of the Privy Council. The fate of the Senate. Since the arrival of the exiles in Canada, King George V has appointed many of their numbers to the Canadian Senate, mainly as rewards for valiant service in defense of the Empire. Since King Edward's ascension, the appointments of the exiles has continued to the point where the Senate is often referred to as the Canadian House of Lords. Many members of the government are saying that it's time to come to insist on Senate reform, passing the law requiring senatorial appointments to be confirmed by the House of Commons. Considering the Senate has the power to reject bills, this could result in a showdown with the king unless he decides it's better not to anger the government, the host country, while in exile. We can make them even more popular. Authoritarian Democratic gets a little bit more supportive as well. You're gonna deny the king? You're gonna deny the king his rights? I'm not. I am the king. Kind of. Very high influence right now. Okay. Lovely, lovely, lovely. I mean, you're still just not popular, though. You would think forcing more British people onto the Canadian Senate would make them a little bit unpopular, but apparently not. Apparently he's still just as popular as he ever was. You know, I am going to draw this line at least over to Minnesota. Because I do believe you can flip, and if we want to, probably want to attack them in every point. I mean, all of New York State can flip to them as well, can it? Or does it flip to New England? I don't really remember too much. I mean, we'll also have to, I think, create New England. Yeah, if you know Massachusetts, we can basically just make a little country. That's fine. I do think this is going to be a good time for us to end this episode. So thanks everybody for watching. My name has been Anthem. If you've enjoyed, remember to thumbs up. If you not enjoyed, click thumbs down. If you want to see more, subscribe, and goodbye.